Okay.
All right. And
We probably need to let people come into the room, I would think.
okay. And oops. Hi, everybody.
Good morning. Are our
Sean,
doors open?
it is yours.
Is our Zoom room door open?
Yes,
Looks like
go
we
ahead.
have a couple of guests. Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for participating in this, our very first, give us grace, very first Zoom conference in a long line series that the Chamber is going to be doing. And we're really excited that our very first set of videos and conferences are going to be held in partnership with our good partners and friends from the Small Business Development Center. We have Nancy Stoll, Michael Bowers, Kevin Hammond, and Michael Sanderson all joining us. And, or excuse me, Michael Sanderson, you're not from there. I know that better than
I'm sorry to
Give me a
say.
little more credit. Anyway, Nancy, would you like to get the ball rolling here?
I sure would. I'm Nancy Stahl, and as your screen says, welcome to the first in our series of 3. It's what resources are out there available to you right now so you can get the information that you need. That's the first thing. And then we're going to talk about the strategic business decisions to make and that you need to consider to support your sustainability in 2020. So what in the world is the SBDC? Well, before I answer that, let me tell you what we are not. We are not the SBA. The SBA the SBDC is a public-private partnership between the SBA, Small Business Administration, state government, higher educational institutions, some economic development foundations, some chambers of commerce, and some private industry. What does that all mean? The SBDC is sponsored, funded by a grant. We've all heard the commercial on TV that there's a grant program out there that's helps small businesses. We are one of the major grant programs they're talking about. Please keep in mind, we do not have any real deep pockets, and we aren't grant oriented, giving grants, but we are grant funded. 50% of our operating budget comes from the SBA. The other 50%, we've got to go out and rally that around, and that comes from the state, higher education institutions. That's why Region 1 here in Central Ohio is the SBDC at Columbus State Community College. They are one of our major sponsors. Economic Development Foundations and Chambers of Commerce, in-kinding space so we can serve your community, and some private industry. That's what we are all about. Truthfully, what are we all about? We provide the grassroots, hands-on assistance and guidance and information for that small business owner, whether it be a budding entrepreneur who wants to start a business or an existing business. We are here to provide you the assistance and guidance you need. And we deal, like I said, with anything from Nancy, I got an idea, to as long as you don't employ over 500 people, we are here to help you. We used to say that consider us your business partner, only better. What makes us better? The only vested interest that we have in your business is that you and it succeed. By becoming a client of the SBDC, you obtain a professional business advisor at no charge. Wow, at no charge? Yeah, it's free. No, it's not. Your tax dollars has already paid for it. So you get a professional business advisor at no charge whose main interest is focused on your success. Our main goal is to meet your need with the best resource available. With the clients that I work with, I tell them, you know, you not only get me, but you get 5 other business advisors, because our whole staff at the SBDC at Columbus State is here to meet and address every one of your needs. All 6 of us have basic specific areas of expertise that we shine in. We can address just about anything, but when it falls into someone else's bailiwick of expertise, we just hand you off to them and they help and assist you. With that all in mind, I tell my clients, my main goal is to meet your need with the best resource available. And that's why I have invited Mike Bowers. He is the director of our center here today to help discuss and talk about those business decisions that you'll need to make so you can sustain your business in 2020 and beyond. And then Kevin Hammond. He is, oh gosh, unlike me, he loves numbers. He loves doing financial analysis and all that kind of good stuff. He also is excellent in market research and has a background in technology and manufacturing. So with that, we're going to kick off the first of our 3 events here. The topic is strategic business decisions to support sustainability in 2020 and beyond. Before I forget, this coming Wednesday, the topic will be other access to capital resources. And I believe Mike's going to touch on that just a little bit. And then Friday, we're going to have an update on the financial resources that may be coming available. And if not that, it's how to move your business forward in the future in those different types of programs and tools that you might want to consider. With that all said and done, I am going to stop my share and give it over to Mike Bowers.
Great. Thank you, Nancy. Appreciate it. I do appreciate the Grove City Chamber of Commerce for being a great partner and allowing us to come in and support their members and the local businesses that they deal with. So a couple of things. The way I'm going to go through my part is that I'm not using a PowerPoint. I'm just going to kind of go through a few points. And the first thing I want to do is that I'm just going to give you a quick update on the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program and the Payment Protection Program. And that's really not the point of this. I think originally that was going to be the topic of today, but then last Thursday, the funds were gone. So we decided we were going to push that back until it got funded. So, but I also know there's a lot of people that have some interest and have some questions. So I want to kind of touch base on a couple of things. So the program is basically designed to put money into the pocket of the small business owners to help them do 2 things. So the EIDL loan, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, is to basically assist with any way that your business may have been damaged, primarily focusing on working capital. So if you needed funds to do around your inventory or around other things like that you need to keep your business, or if you need new equipment or things of that nature, it's really to help you basically keep up from that perspective. That program was funded at $10 billion. That's been opened for probably 3-4 weeks, and it has gone through a lot of changes. So if you plug into some of the things that we were talking about when this first launched, you know that it is significantly different than it was when it closed on Thursday. So that is a program that goes directly to the SBA. That does not go through the bank. You go to an SBA portal, you put in your application, the SBA contacts you, and you kind of work through that. Then a lot of people have thought, okay, when they did the last program, when they did the last stimulus program, that's when they started talking about this advance, this $10,000 advance. So the SBA, and the way it was put together is that this was an advance. This advance didn't necessarily need to be paid back, and that's where there was a lot of talk about this grant, this $10,000 grant. So again, things changed and things shifted, and I think part of that was due to the fact that there was a heavy demand and there wasn't a lot of money, to where the advance went from, hey, you put in an application for the loan, now all of a sudden you have the opportunity to get $10,000 that you don't have to pay back. That got changed to $1,000 per employee. So if you are a sole proprietor and you put in for this, you may have the opportunity to get $1,000. If you have 10 or more employees, then you would have the opportunity to get up to the $10,000. And again, that's changed. That changed along the way, and that's kind of where it sits now. Now, obviously, that program's not open because it's not funded, but if you have an application in and you don't know the status of this, then really what you need to do is the only things you can really do is you can call the SBA at their 800 number, which is 1-800-659-2955, or you can email them at disastercustomerservice@sba.gov. Those are the two ways you can get to the servicing centers that are handling this. Calling the district office of the SBA in Columbus, calling us and asking us to check status. We don't have access to that. And the local district office doesn't have access to that. So the only way you can really find out is to try to call that way. And I don't know where it is now, but if you call, you can expect some potentially long wait times. Now, as far as the PPP loan, it's a payment protection loan. That loan is designed to help you keep your employees hired, keep them on payroll while we work through this closure and this stay-at-home orders. And they are working to, they came up with the program very quickly. And this program, unlike the other one, works through the banking system. So it would be like anything else. If you in the past have gone to get an equipment loan, it's kind of the same deal. You go to the bank and then they make their decisions and they send everything off to the SBA so that they're covered. The thing with that particular program, however, is that it is a loan program. So if you get $50,000, then right now you would have a $50,000 loan, and that's a 1% rate at a 2-year term. If you have your employees on payroll for the 8 weeks and you have been paying them for the 8 weeks, then you have the opportunity to get reimbursed that amount. And that's really the key. So if you get reimbursed some dollars and you have some loan left, you would get it at that 1% rate. The trick and the challenge that a lot of people are having is that with that program, I think there's some people delayed in applying because they were trying to figure out how to time this. They didn't want the 8 weeks to expire before they got business back, before they were allowed to open the doors. And while that makes some sense, the challenge is that this loan program was a first come, first serve program. So the early applications got dealt with. The later applications may or may not have got dealt with. So that's important to know. If you have already applied for the PPP loan, if you've been contacted, if you've been approved, then more than likely you're either already funded or you're going to be getting funded, potentially out of the funds that they already had allocated. If you applied and you have not heard anything, then know that you are more than likely still in the queue. So they have not, your application has either not been reviewed yet or you haven't officially put in an application yet. So if you've done that, so I'll give you an example. I work with an organization that had dealt with that deals with Huntington Bank. Huntington Bank has a form that you put in some of your information. That's an intake form. That's not the actual application. Then they contact you to take the application. So it's important that you understand what the process is that your bank is dealing with as it relates to that particular program. Like we said, that program is also out of money. They had applied $249 billion to that, but they are currently trying to reauthorize funds to those programs. So I don't know exactly how that's going to work, but more than likely they're only going to add probably another $2 to $250 billion to that program. So those funds are going to go really fast. So if you're already in the queue, you're probably sitting in pretty good shape. If you are not in the queue, if you have not applied yet, then you need to be ready as soon as they open it up. So as soon as they open up, as soon as your institution starts taking applications, you need to be getting your stuff in and you need to be ready. So some of the things we're recommending people do is, one, contact their financial institution and understand their process. So if you deal with Huntington, you deal with Chase, US Bank, or some bigger institution, they probably, will lay out exactly how this works. If you work with your community bank and they're capable of doing this, they'll be able to tell you exactly how this is going to work also. So understanding that process is going to be really important for you. Number two is make sure you have all your financials in place. So I think Kevin's going to talk about our website and some other things like that and where you can find stuff. But we have checklists for both the EIDL program and the PPP program that will be up today. So you need to understand, get all your financials together, have it ready, because when they say go, you need to go. Because if you don't and you don't have it ready, you're going to drop to the back of the line and you don't want to be there. And like I said, as soon as they're ready to reopen, you need to get there and get your stuff in. So that's kind of where we're sitting with that particular program. As Nancy said, what we will do as part of this series, we will basically give an update on where these things are once it opens up. So if it opens up later in the week, we'll have it there. You can also check what we're doing on our website, because we do try to put the most updated information on there also. But if you have questions, you can certainly call us at the Small Business Development Center. We've been working with a number of people. We've got over 140 individuals that we've got in the queue here. Some have been approved, some have been funded, and some are still waiting. So we've been working through a lot of this. So that's kind of the loan program piece. And again, I don't want to spend tons of time on that, but I knew that there were people that had an interest in that. So when it kind of comes down to things that I think you need to think about from your business, I've been doing this for quite a while, and I was doing this in 2000, when you had the tech bubble crash, and I was involved in this when 2008, when the real estate bubble crashed. And those both caused pretty significant economic slowdowns. And there's a lot of similarities of things that you need to be doing. The challenge is right now is that this is completely different. This was not something that was brought on by actions like the tech companies being oversold or some of the things that some of the larger banks had done. This is really, completely out of the norm. And it's important that you as a small business owner be prepared to deal with something really completely different. You hear on the news a lot about the new normal. Well, the new normal is going to be really important for you as a small business owner. Basically, you need to incorporate the word new into everything you're doing, because everything, once they reopen, is going to be new. It's not going to be the way it was before January 2020. It is going to be new. You will need to adjust as a business owner, whether you're a one-person consultant or you have a restaurant or you have a manufacturing firm. You are going to have to adjust, because there's going to be a lot of things that will have to happen, because the coronavirus is not going to be gone on May 1st. So there's still going to be expectations around social distancing, around shaking hands, and if you're a hugger, being, hugging and things of that nature. I mean, that's not necessarily where you need to be. So you need to be thinking about just little stuff like that. But you also need to be thinking about what's going on first, I think, with your customers. So that there's going to be some sort of phased in reopening. So the president's talked about that. Governor DeWine is talking about that. So this is going to not only impact you as a business owner, it's also going to impact your customers, and it's going to impact your suppliers. So give you an example. So if you have something that you need to get supplies for, you may be open, your customers may be open, but your supplier may not be open. So you need to basically reach out. You need to, one, check on all your suppliers, make sure that they're going to reopen, make sure when they're going to reopen, and that they can take care of your needs so you can take care of your customers. The other thing you really need to do is you need to be touching your customers. You need to be reaching out and seeing where they are. Now, I would not recommend that you go into sales mode with them at this particular time, but this is a great time for you just to kind of touch base, make them aware that, hey, you're still around and you're here to help and support them. And in some ways, give them somebody to talk to, because a lot of times they don't have anybody to talk to. So be that good business partner, as Nancy alluded to, the way we oftentimes look at our SBDC. Again, know that there's going to be a new economy. So the economy in January is going to be significantly different than it's going to be when we reopen. We're looking at potential 20% unemployment rates, and not all of them are going to come back. So they may have had jobs in 2019 with your customers. These employees may not come back. So knowing that if you deal with business to consumer, that while we had really low unemployment, a lot of people had jobs and a lot of people were able to maybe buy your product, that may not be the case now. So you need to be prepared for how that is going to impact your business. Also, it's important that you understand how the banks are going to potentially react to this. So, let's forget about all the PPP loans and these types of things. Let's think about what's going to happen in August, in September, et cetera. One of the things that I saw in 2009 was where you had good businesses prior to this real estate crash. And these businesses basically were told by the financial institution after all this happened that they could no longer provide them additional credit. They couldn't, make loans to them at the same levels that they had before. And that wasn't because the banks were mean. It was because the economy had changed, and then it caused their risk tolerance to change. So a business that was good in mid-2008 all of a sudden slid into a much more risky area just because of the economy. So it wasn't to do anything with that business. It was because of the economy. So that's going to happen again. So that's why it's important for you to be prepared and know that that's coming. So again, having those interactions, staying in a touch base with your people, your banks, is really important. It's also really important that you understand your financials and your cash flow. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because I think Kevin's going to talk some about that. But you've got to understand your business and your financials. You may have been able to get away with some stuff not understanding that because things were good. Well, now it's going to be different, and you need to make sure you understand what your money and your cash flow looks like. You need to be thinking about shifting and increasing your marketing. So you need to be thinking about, how do I get the word out about what I do? And how do I get the word out about what I do to potentially new customers, to a customer base that has changed? So that's where it's important to really understand those markets, really do some research, and make sure that you know what's going on with your customers, with your market, so that you are ready to react positively and proactively versus, oh, wait a minute, they're not buying right now, so what do I do? So that's the thing. And that gets down to being ready to pivot. So I would venture to say Kevin's going to use the word pivot at least once in his presentation. So be ready to shift. If your customers are not there, don't force it. Think about what else you need to be doing and go from there. And then lastly, just don't panic. I mean, I get it that if you're having trouble keeping the doors open right now, it would be easy to panic. But let's think about being strategic. Remember why you started this business and what it's going to take for you to continue to manage that business. And if you can do these types of things, then you'll be able to come out the other side of this business. But the key thing, I think, is to think everything's going to be different. Everything when we reopen is going to be different than it was when we closed. And you need to be prepared for that. So with that, I want to throw it over to Kevin Hammond, and he'll go through some things that could also assist you.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm going to load up my slide deck here. So give me 1 second. There we go. All right. Okay, everybody see that okay? Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Kevin, I do want to point out that I think that, I don't remember we mentioned this earlier, we will have a question and answer at the end. So if you have any specific questions for us, either put them in the chat or kind of think about what you're doing, and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I only have 45 slides, so I should be done by probably 2:30. So, or no, 3:30. Just kidding. Happy to be here. Happy to help the Grove City Chamber as a part of the Ohio SBDC team here. So I'm going to go through a few slides here. So one thing I want to point out to all of you on the line here is on our website, we do have a COVID-19 resource page. So I got a screenshot of it right here. Now it's a long, it's got a lot more links than what you see. So so you want to go on that site. Lots of good stuff on there. It has information on the disaster loans, the PPP, as well as all the other resources that are out there right now. So it's kind of like a good one-stop page for small businesses to go to right now as it relates to this COVID thing. So check that out there. And again, it's on our web page under COVID-19. Okay, so I also want to mention, and Mike kind of touched on this, and we're going to talk deeper in this later in the week as we discuss, financing and so forth. But even though the PPP and the EIDL, all these acronyms here, I sometimes get mixed up. Even though those things are currently not funded, we're still helping clients with other types of funding, just as we always do. So keep that in mind. We help your existing businesses, your startups with traditional conventional loans, SBA, alternative financing, whatever it might be, depending on the kind of business. So helping you out with that packaging and so forth. And again, we'll have a webinar here. I don't know if it's the Wednesday one or the Friday one that will go deeper into how that happens, but just keep in mind we can help you with that too. So another thing we have rolled out is a new video series. So during this kind of crazy unique time here, we thought it would be a great thing to help you small businesses out there, as well as the entrepreneurs that were kind of trying to get started and this happened. So, trying to help that whole entire audience with videos that are going to give you some ideas on, various things. This video series you can find on our website, and they come out twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. They're also on our YouTube channel. And just to give you some idea of the types of topics we have on there, first one we had was on take action. So again, during this challenging time, we can feel like we don't have a whole lot of control over our businesses and the future and customers and those kind of things. This video here, which is already out, is really just to give you some pointers, some guidance, and get you to think on the various things you can do. Things like, adjusting to a new, trying to go after a new market. Essentially, you're going to be doing a lot of pivoting right now, and that's kind of the name of the game. I've always liked the word pivot as it relates to business, because as you're starting and growing, you're always doing those pivots. But if this time has taught us anything, it's really important to be nimble, and that's where I think a lot of the small businesses, all of us the small businesses, you guys have an advantage, I think, over a lot of the larger companies that can't quite, move as quick. So that's one advantage you have. So a few other topics we have a video on the best free market research tools out there. So video on that. I got one coming up, I believe, Thursday, is on developing and understanding your financial statements. So, just kind of, if you don't have financial statements, I know a lot of small businesses kind of do that more, maybe not intentionally, but so this kind of shows how to put those together and how you can use those for success. Thursday, we're going to have one on cash flow, a two-part series actually, and then another one on cash flow. One coming up on adjust and pivot. Again, trying to be nimble, looking at new markets you can go after. We're going to have one on effective marketing during challenging times, during a crisis. One on leadership, and other various topics that we'll have. So again, they're Tuesdays and Thursdays, so stay tuned for those. Also want to mention, and Nancy touched on all the great things that we do to help you, and that's why we do this, because we want your success. We use a lot of great business tools out there that help us help you. So these are some examples of my favorite tools that I use in the course of my daily activities in helping out small companies and startups. One of them is IBIS World, which is a real important one right now, because it goes into looking at industry data, the types of industry trends and so forth. So for existing companies that need to, look for a new market to do some, pretty major pivoting, that can be a powerful tool. Growth Wheel is one I use for doing some planning and so forth, lean planning. Profit Sense I like because it helps me do the financial analysis. And it's just a great tool that really helps get a client to understand where they are financially and what things they can do to improve. Not just, it gives you a lot of quantitative stuff, but I like that it also helps me help you with some qualitative things you can do. Just, what's these daily things you can do that are going to help your bottom line and so forth. And another market research we had is SBDC Net. So here's kind of a screenshot of the IBIS World tool there. So just an example of a competitive landscape for a industry. This is for life coaching here. So just, one of many examples we have here. So again, if you're already in business and you're experiencing challenges right now, which is most businesses, good thing you can think about. One thing you can think about is looking at other opportunities, other industries you can go into. This may have been something you were thinking about even before this happened, and this time has just kind of forced you to have to, think about that and really act on it right now. So there's IBIS, and then here's kind of the growth wheel tool here kind of shows you it's, the reason why we like this is it's very lean in the way we do and help clients with business planning. Very intuitive. It's focused. It's not where you're writing a 50-page business plan that probably no one's going to see, and you may not see it after you write it. So it's really things that you do, at certain times in the business to address certain challenges you have at certain times. So just want to kind of wrap up my part here, and then we'll get to the Q&A part here. But as Nancy mentioned, the way we work with all the different partners all around Central Ohio, because it takes, we think we do a great job, but, we work with all the folks that can be out there. So, coming to us, if we don't know it, we're going to, point you in the direction that we think is best for folks that we trust. And, like Nancy said, Mike said, it's your success that we're after. So that's what we're here for. And right here is our contact information. We have a main phone number for intake, main email for intake, website, and I'll turn it over to Mike here.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. So, with that, I don't know if anybody had any specific questions or anything that maybe jumped out at you, Nancy, or any of the chamber folks that we might be able to elaborate on.
I would like to take everybody through our website. This is our website, sbdccolumbus.com. We one-on-one advising, training, opportunities, let's see, financial resources and partnering, legal accounting industries, and even more. But up here in the, what is that called? The ID bar or scroll bar or whatever. This was the COVID-19 section that Kevin was talking about. If you scroll on down, we've got not only information from Mike in response to the EIDL and the PPP loan program, but a walkthrough for exactly what the EIDL application looked like in the process. But here are tons of resources on what exactly is the disaster loan, the paycheck protection program, what is the bridge, just all kinds of information and different resources that you can take advantage of. Click on those links and get more information. Scrolling back up under events, you click on that. Over here is our Progress Not Panic 2020 videos that he mentioned. Also information on our Capital Crash Course, which is coming up hopefully in December maybe?
Yeah.
But also, if you scroll on down under events, we have all of our classes that we will be holding. The majority of them, like BASE and some of the funding programs are provided in, BASE stands for Basis of a Successful Enterprise. And a lot of people think that that is only for startups. Yes, it's geared towards startups, but even if you have to pivot into another arena, one of the things that you've got to do is do your research to really know and understand what you're dealing with, who you're dealing with, what they really want. Is there a demand, or is this just a really good idea that only you are sold on? And going through that process, we call it our process of P's, which is perceive of the idea, pleat and prove. That means do your research and prove or disprove the following statement. There's somebody else out there other than yourself who is really sold on this. You know who they are, you know where they are, you know what they want, how much they're willing to pay. You got to prove that you've got a customer and that you're not the only one thinking that this is a great idea. Once you prove that, you may disprove it, okay? But if you do, we think that's success, because look at what you just spared yourself. But if you do prove it, you've got all of this validated, at least half proven information that now you can take and do the next P, and that is plan it. Okay, that's setting out your itinerary of I'm here and I want to be way over here. Plan how you're going to get there, what steps, that action plan. Once you have that action plan, the next P is process that plan. I use the analogy of I'm here in Columbus, but oh, I want to be in Vegas. Okay, I can shut my eyes, and if that was my business, I can actually see myself there and what I will be doing in it. Okay, with that analogy of I'm here in Columbus, I want to be in Vegas, the first thing I don't do is hop in my car and start it and head out and drive west. I don't even know how to get there. I don't even know if I have enough money to do it. But if in fact you apply that process of P's, you will have proven it. You will have planned it on good information, not just numbers and ideas grabbed out of the air. And then you take that plan of action and process it. That's the next P. Once you've got that, proceed and do it. Okay? That is so important right now. Start thinking of new ideas. As Kevin would say, oh my gosh, Kevin, I just happened to think we're an organization of P's. And pivot your business, and look at what you can do to become more profitable, serving the public, your customer, and giving them what they really want. And that is just a part of the base program. And you can even use it in your efforts of pivoting. But just scroll on down, and hopefully by May 6th, we will be able to have a live in class, of course, 6 feet apart from everybody, class on Market Your Way to Success. And I'm the instructor on that. And I really look forward to serving all of you, whether it be on Zoom or in person. Let's see. Let me get into, let's see. Sean, do you have any questions in the chat? Hold on a minute. I can't get her unmuted. Let me check.
While we're looking, I guess a couple of things I just wanted to point out. So Kevin and Nancy have done a great job kind of alluding to some of the things and services we have available. Small Business Development Center, what we do is we work with businesses, and we do that at no cost to the business owner. So I think one of the most important things when you're trying to go through, an economic downturn, forget about all the other stuff. I mean, the economic downturn is bad enough, and then you coat all this other stuff on top of it. Don't think you have to do it alone. So while, we are happy to meet with you, we're happy to talk to you. Obviously, we're doing everything online right now. We're doing everything remotely, but we are fully functional right now to work with individuals and help them, work their way through this process. And we have a really strong team. We've been around for a long time that will be able to help you. So, whether you use the services of the SBDC or what, just don't think you have to go by yourself. And being a member of Chamber of Commerce is really important, because you guys are, all about your community, and that's where it's really important.
Well, I appreciate that, Michael. Thank you to you and to Kevin and to Nancy for all you do for us year round. I don't know if all of our business community knows, and certainly even all of our members realize that Nancy's in our office at least once a month doing free business consulting. And I know that some of the people on this chat this morning or on this Zoom meeting have visited with Nancy multiple times and have been very, very happy with what they've gotten from her. So thank you all for that. Thank you for this collective wisdom this morning. And don't forget, we have another meeting, another Zoom meeting Wednesday at 2 o'clock right here. You can register for that, I believe, as soon as this one is closed. And then there will be one Friday as well. And your Grove City Area Chamber of Commerce is also working on a long line of seminars and workshops for you, including some on taxes, some on safety, some on May 5th is going to be a big team working on or teaching us about how to care for the elderly and make sure that they're safe and well taken care of. We've got bankers and all kinds of folks coming on. So keep your eyes on our website, gcchamber.org, and we'll look forward to seeing you at some more of these Zoom meetings. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. And before I end the session, please keep in mind the Chamber of Commerce's phone number. And Sean, you want to give that once again?
Sure. The phone number is 614-875-9762. We're working remotely, of course, as is everyone, but we will get those messages.
Great. Our phone number is 614-287-5294. You are very welcome to give that number a call, and Bruce will be your point of contact, and he will connect you up with the best resource available within our staff to address your questions and help you walk through this challenging time. We want you to succeed. Okay? That's why we're here. That's why we do what we do, because we want to empower your passion for business success through this all. Okay? Have a great day, guys, and we'll see you Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Thanks all. Bye.